Greetings students and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go over spreadsheets and specifically budgeting on a spreadsheet. There are many budget programs out there that are free that you can use, Mint and every dollar or two I can think of right now, but I like making my own spreadsheets because it's just fun to play around with that. And with Google Sheets they give you a free way to make it. So let's get started. Before we get started, in a previous video, I went over the basics of spreadsheets and how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, as well as finding the sum and finding the averages for a set of numbers. And we're going to use that here on the spreadsheet. So we're going to start off with the blank sheet right here. I already titled it April. Actually, I should call this Budgets. And if you look down here on these bottom tabs where it says Sheet 1, you can actually name it. You can right-click on it, rename, and call this April. And then you can create a new one every month. So a budget basically is tallying up all your income and tallying up all your expenses and making sure that you're not spending more than you put in. So right now I'm just going to put in all the income stuff. So I'll just title this Income. And you might have several forms of income. So you might have it for your main job, for your side hustle 1, and side hustle 2. You'll notice this doesn't fit on there, so what I'm going to do is go between these two cells until this arrow pops up, or left right arrow, and I'll double click, and then there you go. Now I can make these guys justify to the right, so if I click on this guy right here, click that, it'll go to the right. This one I can make it bold by clicking the B for bold, and I can justify it left right here by picking one of these three, and this one was already picked. So if I stretch this out a little bit more, click and drag, you'll notice these two aren't on the right. That guy, the main title's on the left. Actually, I should move this to the right. So I will click here and justify right. And maybe I shouldn't let that be bold. This should be bold. And now I'll just double click again. Maybe make it a little bit wider. All right, now that I have my income set up, I'll have 3 jobs. I want to get the total of that. So I'll put total down here. And basically it's going to add up everything that's on these 3 cells. So I'll type in equal sum, open parenthesis, and then click on where my first income will be and drag down to the last one. And it labels the cells out there for you already. Close the parenthesis, hit enter. Got nothing there because I have no income here. So what I want to do is I'm going to highlight all this. And before I type in the numbers, I'll click on that little format symbol for currency. Make it in currency, and you'll see that automatically changes. Say for your main job you make $3,000 a month, your side hustle $200, third one maybe $50. So it adds up your total right there. Now we got to label our expenses. I'm going to put that all over here. I'll call that expenses. Click on that, make that B for bold. Now all my expenses, you'll have, I'm going to just type them all up real quick. We got rent, any kind of charity, always good to give. You don't necessarily have to give, but it's always a good idea to give and help people out. Keeps you less focused on yourself all the time. For your phone, or your electric bill, your heat, AC, or cooking gas. It might all be one thing. Retirement. Doesn't matter how old or young you are, you should always put away money for retirement. Then you have stuff you're going to spend on food, either food that you're going to be making at home or going out to eat with your friends. Gasoline, we'll assume you have a car. Miscellaneous, any kind of, I'm going to create another section just specifically on bills, another section on insurance, because you're going to have more than one set of bills to pay, more than one thing of insurance to pay for. So I'm going to separate those because some of those are even split up by, you are paid by years, so you might have to split it up into months. If you live in the city, you got these car stickers you got to deal with, either for the state for your license plate or in the city they put on your windshield depending on where you live. Any memberships that you might have. And this part may be optional. But if you do have like a car payment or student loans, and maybe you need you've already used up quite a bit of your card, you can't make all your payments. So we'll say card 1 and card 2, and we'll just put a space there for that in case there's anything else I need to put in there. And the last one we'll put for savings that you want to just put away. And the goal with this is you want your balance, I'm going to put right here balance, you want that to be equal to 0. Not that you want to spend everything, but you just need to make sure your money is going to specific places and you know where every penny is going. I'm going to mark right here and I'm going to highlight all this stuff to the right. I'll justify that to the right. And then I'm going to put my values in there. And what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm just going to put that there. The numbers are going to go there. And actually, I'm going to have a running balance here too. Actually, I'm going to put the balance right there. I'm not going to put the balance on the bottom because I like to see where all that money is going as I'm putting things away into it. So I'm going to highlight all this. And up to there, I'm going to click on this box for the borders. I'm going to make sure every cell is marked. It's a bit thick, so I'm going to change the border style to make that thin. And then, I'm not going to just do that. I like to put a thick border all around it. That's more of a personal preference. So I'll click on outer border, but I have to change that to be a little bit thicker. And there we go. And maybe I like to do that here as well, just for fun, because it's nice to separate things. You don't need to do that. This is just a quirky thing for me. All right, and now what I need to do is just basically fill all these things up. Some of these cells can be, you can use a formula for this. For example, for retirement, you might want to start putting away 10% of your salary into retirement to some kind of Roth IRA, or if your company matches something like for a 401k, you could put that away too. But we'll say 10% of that. So to do that, I'm going to type in equals, and I'm just going to type in 10% times, that's Shift 8 to get that asterisk there, whatever my total income is, which is right here in cell B6. So I'll click on B6, and you can see that the number multiplies out to 325 already. So that's my retirement. Charity, I'm going to do the same thing, 10% times whatever cell your total income is at. So that way you have that much set aside to give away. Now all these other numbers, I'm just gonna have to fill in. I'll just make stuff up. Rent, $1,200 depending on where you live. Your phone bill, $50. Electric bill, I'll just make general 50. Same thing with your cooking gas. Food, now when it comes to food, gasoline, miscellaneous bills, all these things right here, I'm gonna make these italicized because they're gonna be a little bit different. These things, you're gonna have to assign numbers to. So you need to decide how much money do I want to put away for food. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna set a budget set aside here for food. So I'm gonna type in food. And then you might be buying food off of different things like maybe card 1, put some space right there, card 2, and maybe space right there for, actually let's go up 1, make it cash. So that's my food. This is my budget for food. I'm gonna write down budget and then draw a little arrow up there. Boom. And so I'll just decide here, maybe I wanna spend $250 a month on food. I'm gonna highlight these cells right here. And I'm gonna put borders around them like I did before. I'll just do this really quick. Thick border, make it thick. Boom. Now this is the store that you get it from, and this is the amount you spent. So you'll need your receipts for that. I'm gonna make those centered and bold. And I'm gonna make that bold as well. So that way if you went to Jewel to buy groceries on April 1st, and you spent $30 there, and actually make that into currency right there. I want to make sure that I don't overspend because I could have that all on there, but it doesn't show me whether it's spent or not. So I'm going to write down my balance down here. And to do that, I type in the function equals, and I'm going to click on I1, and I'm going to take away the sum of everything from J3 all the way down here to J15. Boom, so now I'm down to 220. If I spent another $20 somewhere else, for example, I'm going to do the same thing for gasoline as I have right here, and miscellaneous. So I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. And I don't want to type this whole thing over again. So all I'm going to do is all this stuff right here, I'm going to highlight and click and drag all the way down to there. I'm going to basically copy all that. So I can go to Edit and Copy, or you do Control C. Then I'm going to put this right about over here, and then I'm going to paste, Edit, and Paste, or Control V. Shazam. And I'll just rename food. I'll just call that gasoline. And I don't need Joule there. I don't need Joule there. Now the balance for that, I don't have a number up here, but I do notice that I put my food budget up here. So I'm going to put my gas budget up here. Let's see what happens if my gasoline is a $100 budget. Yep, you'll see down here, it puts $100 down there. Let's make that in money as well. All right, now I scooch this over. I'm going to do the exact same thing for miscellaneous right there. Now how you do it is up to you. This is just the way I do mine. If you find an easier way to do it, feel free to use that way. I just want you to be able to use your spreadsheet and all this free stuff here that you have. Once again, maybe I'll just copy this whole thing. Copy that, edit, copy, and edit, paste. Eventually I'm just going to be using the hotkeys that are here because it's a lot quicker to just do Control C and Control V. This one we're going to call that miscellaneous. There you go. Now for food, let's see, miscellaneous, let's make that, say for example, 200. I don't know, I'm just making up numbers right now, 200. For food, in my budget, I'm just going to type in equals, and I'm just going to click on I1, and that'll put in the 250 right there. For gasoline, same thing, equal M1, and I'm tapping on M1. And miscellaneous, equal, and I want that number right there. So I have my number set up. Now I want a running balance because I want to make sure I'm not overspending. So I'm going to go back to here. To figure out how much I have left over in my balance, all I want to do is subtract this number minus that guy. So I do equals that cell minus that cell and hit enter. I now have that much money left. I'm going to do the same thing with this cell. Now it's going to be whatever's up here minus whatever's over here. So I go equals, tap on F3 minus E4, boom. And I'm going to do the same thing going all the way down, but I don't want to keep typing things. So what I'm going to do is, if I click on this right here, you'll see that little blue box right there. What this does when I move this cursor over and it turns into like a plus sign, I click, and when I drag it down, it's going to copy the formula. So if you look as I click down, if you look right up here, as I click on each cell, it's just showing me, take whatever is up here minus whatever is here. Whatever's in F7, subtract from E8. And this one here, take whatever is in F8, subtract from E9. And I can drag that all the way down to the bottom, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'll click that, click and drag, boom. And right now I still have $700 to work with, but notice I didn't fill all these other things in yet. So let's move over. So we got bills. So we can go to our bills section. I'm going to do the same thing right here with my bills. For this one, the way I have mine set up, my bills are just things that every month I have. I'm going to copy, Control C. I'm just going to do the hotkeys right now, Control V, and I'll call this bills. Now you might have your bills pay, you might have your credit card pay all your bills there. So you have your internet for $100, your cable for $100, and any other things that you might have. I'm not going to put balance for that. I'm going to put total and equals sum. Just highlight that from there to there. Boom. That's how much I'm paying for my bills. So under bills, and this might be a constant amount. Every month you're paying this. but you still need to include it to show that that's where your money's going. So in here, for bills, I'll just type in equal and then click on the total right there, the $200, and hit enter. And then if you look right here, I got $200 there. All right, next up, we have insurance, car stickers, memberships. All these things right here are things that you might have multiple things to deal with. So I'm gonna put this all over here. Like for example, insurance. That's split up into auto insurance, disability insurance, also renter's insurance, since this is specifically for renters. Let's say you don't own a house right now. You don't need life insurance because no one's really depending on your income. Let's say for your medical, identity theft, car stickers. Now that might be for city and for state. You got your memberships. You got Costco if you really enjoy that place. Amazon. But I'm gonna make these bold like I have there just to show the title. And then the thing is, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to the car stickers and memberships, you usually have to do a yearly thing. So that's why I don't have them under bills. That's why I don't have them under here, because you're not really paying them. This is more going into a sinking fund, where these guys are you paying. For example, auto insurance is about the average $1,800 a year, depending how old you are. Disability, $1,200 a year. Renter's insurance, about $250. Medical, depends, maybe we'll say $2,000 a year for that. Identity theft, $180 a year. City stickers, $90 for your city sticker. State sticker, put on your plate, $100. Costco for the cheap membership, $60. Amazon, I'll round it up to $120. But you're not paying that every month, you're just paying that once a year, but you want to set aside money every month. So we're going to create ourselves a sinking fund. And if you look over here, we're now on column Z, there's no more space here. Basically, I click on that, I insert one to the right. Boom, and now we got AA. I'm going to make all these into money. And I'm going to highlight all this once again to make a little border. Put an outer border there. And let's just separate these guys. So our city ones, outer border there, and maybe one big outer border here. So basically, you just type in equal, and I'm going to go to Z3, click on that, and divide that by however many months are in a year. And there are 12 months in a year, so I'll divide that, Z2, divide that by 12. Z equals Z2 divided by 12, and you'll see it's already $150. And now all I can basically do, all I want to do now is click on that little plus, click and drag all the way down, and everything gets averaged out, and you'll notice even the borders are done, so I'm gonna have to fix that up myself. So let me fix that right now. Make that empty, now we'll make that into a border, and then we'll make that into another outer border. Boom, fix that. And now, when it comes to insurance and all that, my insurance that I need to save up every month are all these guys right here. So what I'm gonna do is, under insurance, I'm gonna type in equals sum, open the parenthesis, and as I drag over, I'll start here, click and drag down, close the parenthesis, boom. So for all that insurance, it's $452.50. Same thing with the city stickers, equals sum, open parenthesis, and you'll see how they kind of give you a little template how to set it up. Click and drag these two guys there, and the same thing for memberships. Equals sum, open parenthesis, and then click the months there to there. It should say 15, and it does say 15 right over there. Now with all this, just realize if say you have no car payments, you have no student loans, you don't have any minimums to pay on your credit cards because you're being very responsible with it, this is basically where all your money's going, and you still have an extra $16.67 left over. And now is the point where you say, I want to put money away in savings. So right here, what I do is I just do equal, and I just click on the cell right before it. So in F20, I'll put that in savings. And now if you look at my running budget, my balance, it's now to 0. That means I have every dollar is set aside to pay for something or saved for something. Now this is where the fun part is. You can adjust and say, I don't want to just put $16 in savings. I need more money. But remember, you're already putting money away for retirement. You're paying for all your bills. You're already putting away money for insurance, for your car stickers, and other responsibilities you have. You set that aside in some kind of savings account somewhere. You don't have to worry about it. One thing I didn't think about putting money aside for is an emergency fund. You want to have about 3 to 6 months set aside for that. I'd say 6 months more on the conservative side. So that's going to take a long time to put aside money. So in this case, I would say let's get rid of car payment. Let's get rid of these little payments there. You don't need them. Right now, you just got out of college, say. Your emergency fund. You want to start putting money away for that. So let's look at some of these things up here. You might not want to spend if it's just you might not want to spend $250 on food. Let's make that $200. Gasoline. Say you're not going out all that much. Let's make that $80 depending on where you're getting gas. Just to mess around with it. Going to miscellaneous. Maybe let's make that $100. Now, if I look at that right now, at this point right here, I have $186.67 set aside for your emergency fund. You're still having fun going out and doing things with your friends with your money there. So let's just put this in, equals that number there. So that way you're putting money inside every month, and maybe you can mess around. Maybe you could get a roommate. If you're like $1,200 for rent, now I can say, well, I don't know if I want to get a high-end apartment unless you're living in New York, and that's a cheap one. But let's say if we can cut that to say $900 because you got a roommate. So now you got more money set aside. Now you're setting aside almost $500 for your emergency fund. You'll be collecting that in no time. And if you have more money from your side hustles, you could start putting that away too. But that's just like a basic setup for your budget. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other videos you'd like to see, please click on one of them over here or click on my channel. Share, like, and subscribe when you like. It helps the YouTube algorithm, so please do that. Have a good day.